June 19, 2018, 11:56 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. June 19, 2018, 11:56 a.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time. DFS Bennett, Bedford and Rotochills Lineup Optimizer. Break down the 2018 Travelers Championship field to help you find the best picks and sleepers for your daily fantasy golf contests. The U.S. Open is in the books, but don't get too down because this week's Travelers Championship features one of the best fields that we have seen all season for a non-major U.S. Open champion Brooks Koepka is making the trip up to Connecticut and will be joined by other elite players, such as Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, Jason Day, Rory McIlroy, Patrick Reed and Paul Casey. The potential mid-range picks for daily fantasy golf contests are also exceptional, with players champion Webb Simpson, Bryson DeChambeau, Ryan Moore, Bubba Watson, and Patrick Cantlay, among others, in the field this week. The Travelers is played at TPC River Highlands, which is a par 70, Pete Dye layout of only 6,800 yards. TPC River Highlands is one of the shortest courses that we see all season, so players will be able to club down early and often to keep the ball in the fairway and set up their approaches. This leads to short iron and wedge play being by far the most crucial aspect of this week. TPC River Highlands concedes a boatload of birdies and consistently ranks toward the top of the tour in birdie rate. However, this being a Pete Dye layout, there is still plenty of trouble to be had around here, which brings a fair amount of crooked numbers into play. The green complexes around TPC River Highlands are also fairly tricky. We have POA greens, which is an outlier for the Northeast. However, we did see them last week at Shinnecock, as well. The greens used to play as some of the slowest on tour, which brought some of the long-term average to bad putters into play. Last year was a different story, as they jacked up the speeds on the Stimpmeter, and we saw the cream of the pudding crop rise to the top of the leaderboard. At the end of the day, this is a fairly straightforward week. If you focus on who is striking their irons well, who traditionally plays Pete Dye tracks well, and who is able to rack up birdies, you should have a successful Travelers week. More DFS lineup builder strategy. There's plenty of strategy that goes into putting together a winning DFS lineup, and the best place to start is Rotochills DFS tools. Our Rotoch PGA Lineup Optimizer offers a massive advantage when you're building lineups, regardless of contest size or site. I'm always there to help, too, so check me out on Twitter, @DefSpench, for even more NFL, NBA, MLB and PGA daily fantasy content. Key stats: ball striking, strokes gained, approach birdie or better percentage, par 4 scoring. Travelers Championship picks, daily fantasy golf top tier targets. Justin Thomas, $11,500. Thomas is the most expensive player in the field this week and my top overall play. His statistics and course fit line up perfectly for TPC River Highlands. He has had an up-and-down track record at this event, with a T3 in 2016, which was followed by a missed cut last season. I love targeting Thomas at courses where he can club down off the tee and set up his short iron game, which remains one of the best in the world. Thomas probably isn't necessary for cash games but deserves consideration as a core play in GPPs. Jason Day, $9,800. Day at a Pete Dye track is a lock-and-load situation every single time. Day has an elite track record on Pete Dye layouts and should be one of the lowest-owned players in the top tier after missing the cut last week at the U.S. Open. Day's price is also just too good to pass up on here, as you can easily build a balanced lineup with him as the high-priced anchor or pair him with one of the top 4 guys. His stats may not jump off the page, but Day has the complete all-around game that plays well at tactical tracks like River Highlands. Others to consider: Paul Casey, Webb Simpson, GPP. Mid-tier targets Daniel Berger, $8,900. Berger was painfully close to winning the 2017 Travelers before Jordan Spieth did his thing and holed a walk-off shot from the bunker in the playoff. That being said, you should look to ride Berger this week coming off a great performance at the U.S. Open. Berger isn't a long hitter, so the lack of length at this course will help Berger against the rest of the field. Berger has also posted a T5 here back in 2016. Kyle Stanley, $7,700. TPC River Highlands is a picture-perfect setup for a ball striker such as Stanley. He excels on these type of short tracks that allow players to club down off the tee. He has high finishes at similar layouts, such as Muirfield Village, TPC Potomac, and YLICC, which shows that he has great upside on these layouts. Stanley is an excellent cash game option on DraftKings at his $7,700 price tag. Others to consider: Bubba Watson, GPP, Emiliano Grillo, Brendan Steele. More DFS, lineup builder, strategy value targets Rory Sabatini, $7,200. Sabatini has been one of the most consistent players on tour this season, and his price tag continues to stay an excellent value across the industry. He has only missed one cut in his past 17 starts and has top 30 finishes in 5 of his past 7 outings. What's most appealing for this week with Sabs is it's been his irons and ball striking that has been carrying him. He is viable in both cash games and tournaments. Pat Perez, $7,000. When looking for value plays, it's helpful to try and target guys who are much better long-term golfers than their price would suggest. Perez certainly fits that bill, as he has missed 3 of his past 7 cuts but is in play this week at a course that fits his game well. The Roto projections have been on fire this week, and Perez's projection of 48 DK points is significantly higher than virtually everyone in this price range. He will likely be a chalky option, but is so cheap that he is in play in all formats. Others to consider: Stuart Sink, Shea Reevy,